Hello, this is a guide on how to play 6 versus 6 indoor soccer. And by 6 versus 6, we mean 5 players on the field plus a goalie. Before getting started, I want to give special thanks to my friend Gianni Menini. He is a very expert soccer player as well as an experienced coach. Most of the ideas in this video come from him, so thank you, Gianni, for making this possible. You should visit his website, it's coachgianni.com, as well as subscribe to his newsletter. Let's get started. We're going to use this illustration to represent the field, and at the bottom where you see the gloves, it represents the goalie of your team, while the other goal is the opponent's team. So the bottom part would be your defense and the top part would be your attack. As we go through this video, you will learn about these ideas. You don't need to memorize them, just be aware of the fact that we're gonna be playing in a 3-2 formation, that everybody will need to attack and defend, the forwards move in a way that creates space, and defenders don't dribble. Players should always be behind the ball, especially when defending. The team should apply pressure in the right way, and roles can be interchanged. Let's see how it works. When we talk about defending, it's important to identify the most dangerous area in the field, and you can see it here highlighted in red. Generally speaking, we can say that most of the goals come from that area. It's much more unlikely for a player to score from his own defense or from down here in the lower left corner than it is for him to score from the dangerous area. Well, if that's the dangerous area, it comes logically that the purpose of our defense would be that of defending that red area and pushing players out of the red area. So that's going to be something that our defenders are going to have to think about. In order to accomplish that, we're going to play with a 3-2 formation where there are 3 players here and 2 here. Why in such a formation? Because if you compare it to the dangerous area, this is the best way to cover it. So with this 3-2 formation, we have 3 players that are going to form what we'll call loosely the defense, and 2 players that we'll call attack and midfield. Let's make it clear that these 2 players, they also defend. Attack and midfield is their role, but it doesn't mean that that's all that they do. These players should be willing to run and run often. If they don't run, they should be switched out with whoever's on the bench. So let's see how the defense and the attack work together when defending. In order to do it, they have to apply this first rule, which is also the key to winning the game. The rule is everybody needs to defend and everybody needs to be behind the ball. By behind the ball, we mean between the ball and the goalie. Why? Because this reduces spaces, it makes it difficult for people to shoot and dribble, and is the best way of defending. So what happens if the ball is here and it moves forward? Well, the line moves forward, and therefore all the players should come back. Notice how everybody is behind the line of the ball. There's only something else to say here. This player here in orange is pushing out. This teaches us that we need not wait for our opponents. We need to go and get the ball. We need to go and take the ball from them, pushing them out. Somebody pushes out, and it could be 1 or 2 players. Everybody else stays behind the ball. So what happens if the ball changes position? Let's take a look. The majority of the players come back because they always need to be behind the ball. And somebody pushes. Somebody applies pressure. So again, do not wait for your opponents, pressure them. In this illustration, we have only 1 player pressuring, but there might be even 2 players pressuring. The important thing is that we always pressure and we always push people outside of the danger area. So to summarize, the keys to a good defense are the fact that 5 players should always be behind the ball. players of the opposite team should be pushed outside of the danger area, and that we should reduce the space for our opponents in the danger area. In order to do this, everybody needs to run because attackers and midfielders are back defending, and everybody needs to defend. So if these are the principles of defense, the principles of attack should be very similar, just reversed. That's the danger area. That's the area that as an attacker we want to shoot from. We don't want to shoot from any white area, we want to shoot from the red area. And that's the area also where we should try to create space. Let's see how we can do it. This is how players should be positioned. Two players, the ones that we call the attack and midfield, should go up as much as possible and be wide. One of the players that used to be a defender is now moving up to an attacking position and sits somewhere in the middle. While we have two defenders that stay more or less across the midfield line. It's important that they don't go much forward than the midfield line, but they can also be sure that they shouldn't be sitting back here waiting for people to come up. No, they should move up. By doing that, we take the maximum benefit of what the attack dangerous area is, and everybody is attacking. So how do we get into this position? Let's say, for example, that we are defending, that we are here. How do we get from here to here? Well, the key is, first of all, the following. Two players move up as fast as they can, even if they don't have the ball. Notice here how these two central players move up and they already know where to go, even if the ball is down here. They might have been covering defensive position in the previous action, but now that the ball is won, they're sprinting up. Why? Because they're creating space. The next step is that the defense positions itself. First of all, the ball gets sent up to one of the two attacking players that moved up the field. And then the defense repositions by going up the field. Two defenders stay around the middle line, and one defender goes in the middle. By now, around here, there should be some space. When that happens, the ball is given to the defender, the player be a defender, and since he's probably going to have room, he should shoot right away. If he cannot shoot right away, he should at least be able to make an intelligent play, taking advantage of the fact that we run up and hopefully got the defense off their back foot. So again, let's look at it again. The players were compressed here in defense. They got the ball. Two players sprint up. They don't have the ball, but they know where to go because they want to create space. At that point, the ball is given up. The defense positions themselves. The ball is given back in the center, which is the best position from which you can possibly shoot, and we should. Even if the ball doesn't go in, we now have three players here in a very good position to get that ball back and shoot it in. Very good. What happens though if we're not talking about a position where we can just run up? We're talking in a position where it's 5 versus 5 and the opponents are very well placed in the field. The basics are the same. First of all, the two forward players move up the field to the right and to the left and create space. Next, the two defenders, they have to be careful at what they do because they're the key to success or failure. How? As a defender, they only have one choice. They need to pass the ball to an unmarked player. That unmarked player, if you look at this picture, the only one in this case, it's the keeper. There's nothing wrong with that. The defender gives it back to the keeper. The keeper can give it back to the other defender. That way, we avoid making one of the most terrible mistakes that a defender can do: dribble. Defenders should never dribble. So, What happens is that the defenders, instead of trying to dribble and move up, can give it back to the keeper, and the keeper gives it back to one of the two defenders. It should be pretty safe to do that. By doing that, they form a V, and they can move the V up the field. Doing that allows our attack team to be comprised of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players and 5 defenders. That should give us a pretty good advantage, 6 versus 5. As we do that, it's very likely that one of the players in the other team is going to come and try to get the ball here, creating superiority here. And when there's a free player, that's where we should put the ball. At this point, it's 1, 2, 3 attackers against 2 defenders. Should be easier. All right, so considering this, it's another reason why, if we go back to the original position, this defender should never dribble. Why? Because if this player gets the ball, who's guarding the goal? Nobody. The goalie is out here, and it's going to be easy to score. Therefore, never dribble when you're defending. All right, those are pretty much the basics. What we learned is that we play together in a 3-2 formation. Everybody attacks, everybody defends. The forwards need to run up even when they don't have the ball and be wide and create space. Defenders should never dribble. 5 people should always be behind the ball when defending, applying pressure. And roles are interchangeable because everybody needs to be ready to cover any position in the field. To resume, the defense needs to push out, always be behind the ball, pressing, and never dribble when defending. While attacking, 2 players need to run up and wide to create space. 1 defender needs to go to the middle and be ready to shoot, so defenders, be ready to shoot. And the keeper can help create a 6 against 5 situation. That's it. Thank you very much.